This is Nina Brown of V-103, the Frank and Wanda Morning Show in Atlanta, and you're watching Hotlanta Buzz TV.
Hey, what's up, Hotlanta? This is T. Marie for Hotlanta Buzz TV, and we, of course, are doing our series for buzzworthy women in Atlanta, aka Hotlanta, and we're here with Nina Brown, the morning show producer for the hottest radio station in Atlanta, at least my pick, V-103, the People Station, and we're going to meet her and see what she does, and, you know, the woman behind V-103. Nina?
Hi.
Hi. The reason why I chose you was because I think it's really amazing how you went literally from intern to running the show in less than 2 years, or in about a 2-year span, which a lot of people can't and don't do. Just kind of explain your process of how did you make that happen and what you were actually doing before you went into radio.
Prior to coming into radio, I was a collections manager for a few years, and I managed a group of 20 individuals. I started as an hourly employee and worked very hard and became the department manager. But, you know, even though I was making really good money, I wasn't being fulfilled. I knew it wasn't my passion. And so eventually, at one point or another, I said, you know what, it's time to do me. And if I've got to live this life, let me at least do something that I enjoy. And I decided to go back to school. And I've always had a passion for radio and TV, communications, writing. But I figured out, I said, you know, I want to work at V-103 and I want to work in radio. So, you know, I set on the path to go back to school. I obtained an internship January 3rd, 2005. And I started in promotions and sales. But as soon as I really started at V-103, I quickly fell in love with the whole programming side of it, which is the on-air side of it, where the personalities are and where the music is played from. So so I transferred into programming, and I started literally at the bottom as a board operator, and worked my way up. And while I was a board operator, in my free time, I was doing everything I could to learn everything in the building.
Now, you mentioned energy, and just being around you and seeing you speak at different places, you would definitely fit for being on the radio, being a personality, being in front of the camera per se. But you're running the behind the scenes. Have you ever thought about, or do you consider, I know you're part of the morning show and you're on the TV and kind of in and out, but would you consider being an actual personality? I
would consider it, because the ultimate goal for me has always been what it currently is. That's, the ability to be able to influence people. And I feel like I'm doing that now, even with being behind the scenes, because the people that I work with, they trust my opinion, they trust my insight, and I'm still able to speak at different events, and really have still an influence with the community. But, I think what makes a great radio personality is someone who is well-balanced, who is experienced. So I'm still learning the game. It will be 5 years in January. So, but, there are people, Frank Ski's been in the business 25, 30 years. So 5 years at 30 is still not a lot of time. And I think what makes, to use Frank as an example, what makes him so great is that he has 30 years of experience to be able to do that. So when he opens that mic, I mean, Frank, you can hear the experience. So, eventually, at the end of the day, I definitely want that to be my last stop. But my journey has just begun. So I have a long way to go until I get to that last point. And eventually, though, one day, I hope that it will be, that last point will be an on-air, more in front of the camera, or, whatever it may be. But, definitely more in front.
On a personal side, you did a drastic change. I have to ask, because I mean, that's like, everyone was like, oh my God, Nina cut her hair. Yes. So, what was behind that? And I think, I saw pictures of it, yes, and I saw it on the TV show, but of course you have it covered up today.
On my hat.
But what was the, inspiration behind that?
Well, you know what, I will be very honest with you. They say when a woman cuts her hair, she's, going through some changes, and honestly, that was it. Okay. And I think people automatically assume it's got to be negative when you say you're going through changes, but not always. This has been a very spiritual year for me. Okay. And so a lot of the changes that I went through have a lot to do with my spirituality, but also just wanting to grow and wanting more.
Now with outside of radio, is there something else that Nina enjoys or something that she would look to do? I had learned, you know, speaking with Nicole, it's always good to kind of diversify your portfolio. You know, you have different things that you work with and work on, but it's good to, you know, try out different things. Mm-hmm. So is there something else that you're interested in and working on or doing?
You know, this really, I mean, I have radio is my passion because being able to work with people. So really, I mean, the things that I find myself getting into on the side, so to speak, it's still all under the umbrella of being able to communicate, inspire, and influence people. But, you know, I really enjoy just being in different settings with, you know, people that I can learn from. Panels are like my thing to do. I love panels because, like, really honestly, the last few panels that I've even been a part of, I walked away feeling so inspired, and like I was able to obtain so much information as well as give information to other people. So if anything, I would say it's really just this in more intimate settings, so to speak, where we have 1 million plus listeners on the radio. Like, I love getting with groups of people, you know, smaller groups, and just being able to still talk and figure things out. You know, we have our way of thinking, but then someone brings another way and you're like, oh, I never thought about it like that. I really think that's how people grow and learn. So that's truly what inspires me. Outside of that, then people are amazed. Like, I'm very low key. I'm very, like, my job, I always say, is always on. So when Nina's like not working, I turn it all the way off. Like, I'm normal, my son, my girlfriends, you know, we do brunch. I'm like, let me just be at home. Like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Speaking of your son, I know you're a single mom. I'm a single mom too. Does he know what mommy does, or does he understand it?
Does he know? Does he know? Jalen knows, and he uses it to his advantage. Trust me. He uses it. He loves it. He's 9.
Okay, so yeah.
But, you know, he was 4 when I got into business. So, you know, he's kind of been growing up with this. I mean, he's very proud of me. It's a great feeling.
Well, thank you, Nina, for talking to Hotlanta Buzz. And you're definitely a buzzworthy woman of Hotlanta.
Thank you.
So we appreciate you taking the time out.
You're very welcome.